Hi all, before the start of this video, I would like to thank Dreamcore and ASUS for sending out this board. Now from last week's video, there were a lot of questions and unanswered questions about the board that I didn't address in the last video, as there was an overview as the board just got released from its embargo. So in this video, I'm planning to address those questions and go a bit more in depth with the review. So let's get started. Starting off with a quick summary of the rear I/O. There's a dedicated clear CMOS button and a BIOS flashbang button. Intel Wi-Fi 6 AX200, 8 USB 3.2 Gen 2 with 7 Type A ports and then 1 Type C port. 4 USB 3.2 Gen 1, 2.5G internet port and another normal 1 GPS internet port. Then you have the normal gold-plated audio jacks that's powered by the Supreme FX S12220 codec. Do note that the specifications listed do vary with the CPU that you used. These are based off the Ryzen 3rd Gen processors. Now, for a detailed layout of the internal motherboard headers, starting from the bottom left, is the front panel audio connector, your first fan header out3, a special LN2 jumper, safe boot button followed by a retry button, which is to boot the system without resetting the BIOS, TPM connector, RGB and ARGB connectors, Node connector, 2 USB connectors, a thermal sensor connector on top of a slow mode switch, which is used to decrease the processor frequency to stabilize the system. So let's say you're doing intense overclocking and you need the system to be a bit stable to do your overclocking, you can use this button. Front panel connector, and last of all, your water pump / fan connector. From the bottom right up, your first water cooling system connectors on top of another fan water pump connector. 4 2 banks of SATA 6GB connectors, a 90-degree USB 3.0 connector, a fan header followed by a USB 3.2 Gen 2 connector, 24-pin power connector, reset button and power button, ARGB and RGB connectors. Right at the top, starting from the extreme right, is a Q code LED display, which is basically your postcodes. 3 fan and water pump connectors. One of them is with normal fan connector, and now it's an optional fan connector if you say you have 2 fans on your heatsink, and then the last one's a water pump connector. And the extreme end is your CPU power connectors, which is an 8x4 pin layout. For power delivery options, it has 16 MOSFETs suited to handle 60 amps, giving it a 16-stage power phase to handle the top of the line 3900X. Now for questions. The first question is the 40mm fan noisy and does it vary in speed? Number 2 is what is the price of the board in SG? Number 3, what is the lighting on the board? Number 4, how hot does the power delivery system get under load? And last of all, question 5, how does PCIe Gen4 affect performance in terms of GPU? The VR fan is not very loud. It's not noticeable with other sounds in the components such as your GPU, the coil whine from the GPU, your fans on the casing or the CPU cooler itself. So you don't really notice it, as this is actually quite a soft fan already compared to another board I tested which has a whinier fan. I've measured the sound using a decibel meter along with your other system components on an open air test bench, so this is gonna be as loud as it would get. The highest reading was 64.9 dBA, and this removing the GPU, revealing the small fan, and measuring that was 57 dBA. So that's quite decent already. However, another main concern would be the longevity of the chipset fan, as if the chipset fan fails, you won't really know whether it fails unless there's a fail-safe by the board. Then also, if let's say it does fail, there's no way you can replace it. So you either have to RMA the board and just hope it's under warranty, or maybe third parties will come up with a bit more solutions to cool it, such as water cooling. However, the fail rate of this fan can only be determined by time, as now the board is still so new that there's not really much results of the fan failing. Question 2. What is the price of the board in SG? Well, the MSRP of the board is 729 SGD. they might get it higher as the profit margins of some stores out there do increase the price just by a slight bit. Question 3. How does the lighting look? There's only 2 zones of RGB that you can control on the board, and they're not very bright. Like under light, it's very dim, and then when you only have a bit of dark zone, maybe inside your casing it'll be slightly bit brighter, but it isn't that amazing. I would like to see RGB lights maybe at the side of the board too, that will look great, or in the RAM slots. Question 4. How hot does the VRMs get? Well, running the system with a 3900X, which is the top of the line CPU for this motherboard, and a blower style cooler, the hottest the power delivery system got was 52.2 degrees, and the lowest was 47 degrees using my temperature meter. However, this may vary if let's say you're using an AIO where there's not active airflow going over the power delivery systems. Question 5. Does PCIe Gen4 affect performance in terms of GPU wise? Well, so far with my testing of our RTX 2080 Ti, there was no difference as the card doesn't support PCIe Gen4. I'll be using an RX 5700 XT in the future to do more testing with it, as that card does support PCIe Gen4. However, I sincerely doubt there will be much improvements due to the fact that GPUs don't really use that much bandwidth compared to an SSD. If you use a PCIe SSD that works with Gen4, probably you'll get higher results there as it saturates more of the additional bandwidth. If you guys enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. If you do have any more questions, I'll address them in another video if there's a lot, or maybe I'll just respond to you directly via the comment section. With that, I'd like to say peace out.